Hi, I'm Lynette and welcome to my channel. Today I will be showing you a tutorial on this look right here. Created using the new Violet Ink palette from Menagerie Cosmetics. Menagerie Cosmetics is an indie brand. I've heard a lot about their eyeshadow formulas and their palettes, and this palette was the first one that made me decide to go ahead, pull the trigger, and purchase from them. So this is actually a pressed pigment micro palette, and it is made in the USA. It's vegan and cruelty free, and the packaging is really pretty. There's an octopus on the front, and Violet Ink refers to all of the lilac and purple shades inside. You do get a mirror, and then you get 6 eyeshadows, 4 mattes, and 2 shimmer metallic shades. And to be a small palette, because it is relatively small, you do get nice size pans inside, so I do like that. And from the swatches, you'll see that they are pigmented shadows, and you get varying degrees of purple mattes. And then there are the 2 shimmer metallic shades. One is more of a mauve purple, and the other one is more like a grape purple, like a true purple. As I said, it's a pressed pigment palette, and which I didn't know when I purchased it. If I had known that, I might not have bought it because I'm not crazy about pressed pigments. I did pre-order this back in July, and I just got it a couple of weeks ago. I think it was slated to ship in late August. So yeah, I had to wait a long time to get it. It's finally here, and I decided to do a look with it for you today. So if you would like to see how I created this look, and you'd like to hear my thoughts after using the Menagerie Cosmetics Violet Ink palette for the first time today, then keep on watching. Starting this look off with my Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer, and I used way too much, so I'm using my Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush to blend that out. I never like to use this from my brow all the way down to my lash line because it is so white. So I'm taking the NYX Blame It on Midnight eyeshadow and a blending brush from the Rose Quartz BH Cosmetics brush set, and I'm going to go back into that shadow multiple times to cover up this white ABH eye primer base that I put on. This also will serve as my underbrow highlight and as a transition shade for these purples that I'm going to add in the crease. But yeah, I don't like that white underneath my brow like that. Going into the palette, and I'm going to take Jellyfish and a Sonia Kashuk crease brush or blending brush, I forget which this is, and I'm going to pack that onto the inner corner and inner lid of my eye. And I like how pigmented this shade is. I like that it shows up on my skin tone. I like that it stays fairly true to color on my skin as it is in the pan. And I find that with shadows this shade, they don't always show up on me, so this was very nice to see. And all of these shades, these purples, have like a blue base to them. This looks fairly blue, like a purple rather than a purple. But it's really pretty, really pigmented. Now, as you're going to see right there in that spot, the shadow is not adhering right there in that upper inner corner there, and I keep packing the shadow on, the pigment on, but it's really not adhering, and you'll see right there. And that's the issue that I have with pressed pigments. Not all of them and not all the time, but there have been instances, enough of them, with pressed pigments where I do have this issue, and then you can't build it up because there's just really not a lot of binder in them, so it's not going to stick. I would really need like another base to put on top of that, and then to get it sticky, to make it adhere, and then to get the color to build. I'm going back into the palette and I'm taking Iron Grip and a number 16 NYX blending brush, and I'm going to place that on the middle third of my mobile eyelid and the crease. And again, you know, I wasn't able to really build the shade up, but enough to where it looked nice on the lid. And they blended very nicely, these pigments. Again, my experience with pigments is that they're not always easy to blend, that they can be patchy. They're very powdery. You do get kick up in the pan, so I did have to tap my brush before going in on my eyelid with any of these pigments. But these blended very nicely together, and I did like the pigmentation as well. Now I'm going in with the shade Octopi and another NYX number 16 blending brush, and I was very relieved to see that this dark shade also adhered to the outer V area and the outer third of my lid and the crease, and I was able to build it up enough to my liking, and it blended in very nicely with the other shadows. Again, no issues really with using these pigments, and all of the shades, all of the shade names, as you see, relate to Octopi. Which is really nice. It's a very nice cohesive palette, and I like all the shades, how they work and look together. And now I'm just taking that original brush that I used my transition shade with, and no extra product on it, and I'm just going to blend out those edges above the crease. You don't want any harsh edges. And I'm taking a makeup wipe and I'm cleaning up the fallout. And again, you really need to tap your brush before you go in with these pigments, because there was a lot of kick up. They are very powdery and you will have a lot of fallout if you don't do that. I'm going back into the palette and I'm taking 3 hearts and my Makeup Geek pencil brush, and I started off with this shade Dry on my lower lash line, but it wasn't giving me the kind of oomph that I was looking for, so I did wet my brush with my Mario Badescu Cucumber and Aloe spray, and this was better. It still didn't give me the kind of punch and shimmery and metallicness that I like from a shimmer shade. This is very subtle. It's the same with Mimic, this lighter sort of mauve lilac shade on the same dampened Makeup Geek pencil brush. Again, very just subtle and not really giving me the kind of shimmer that I'm used to with other metallic shades that I use. And I forgot to do this step. I'm using my LA Girl Shockwave Neon Eyeliner in the shade Vivid on my waterline, and it really didn't make any difference. I really didn't need to use this at all. And this is the completed look. I use my Inglot Gel Liner in the shade number 77 and Lashes in a Box number 10. So after using this palette for the first time, what do I think? I like the palette. I do. I prefer the mattes. I like the mattes a little more than I like the shimmers. The mattes are really pigmented and they all blended out very nicely pigmented. I do like the colors. I like the variations of the purples and lilacs that are in this palette. Matches my shirt beautifully. And the shimmer metallics, you know, they didn't blow me away. They're a lot more understated than what I'm used to. I'm used to a lot of flashy, shimmery, metallic goodness from like Juvia's Place and now Give Me Glow. Even the Kaleidos metallic eyeshadow. So these are definitely a lot more subtle than that. So, you know, they are not my favorite. Still pretty. And when you want to do a more subdued, subtle look, I think these are nice. But I do prefer something a lot more shimmery, a lot more metallic than these. It's a palette that I'm glad to have added to my collection. I will continue to play with it. I do like that light shade, and maybe if I use a different base, I will have a better go of getting it to stick and adhere. I don't know, but I like the color combination. I like that it's a small palette, easy for throwing in your purse or bag if you want to travel or take it places, and doesn't take up a lot of room in my collection. Let me know in the comments below, have you purchased this palette? Are you thinking about purchasing it? And if you have it already, what are your thoughts about it? And have you purchased anything from Menagerie Cosmetics? What do you think of them as a brand? If you got any value from this video, then please give it a like and consider subscribing, because I do tutorials along with makeup hauls, swatches, and reviews here on my channel every Saturday. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Until then, bye-bye.